Hey there, fellows. Now, you might remember this car, and the last experiment it was subject to was when we attempted an air cooling conversion on the engine. Now, it did get pretty hot, but that fan actually proved to be somewhat useful even. It's not like it didn't cool the engine at all. That being said, there wasn't a lot of heat exchange going on. After a while, it overheated. But I think we need to keep on trying. We've actually even come up with an alternative solution. We've all seen 2- and 4-stroke engines of the type they use in motorcycles, tills, and other equipment that are of the air-cooled variety. And those, of course, have optimized heat exchange. They employ special fins that dissipate heat. Those are made from aluminum, because aluminum is a much better heat conductor than iron or steel. And so I suggest we remove that engine and set up some aluminum cooling fins. Maybe drill a few holes here and there if needed. Now, a lot of people in the comments noted that the cylinders have to be in contact with metal that has superior heat conduction properties. Aluminum in our case. That's the material we're going to be using for the purpose, so yum. We'll look into how we can make this work and start hammering away. Let's do this. Tearing an engine down to the bare cylinders, for what purpose? Translation and voiceover by BMI Russian. Alright, so check this out. We've installed the air-cooled engine with the aluminum sort of jacket and fins welded to it. Everything is looking good. As for the fan situation, this time instead of 1 fan, we are going to be running 3. One is blowing air onto that side where we got some fins. Then we've got another one also aimed at the area of the block with the fins. And the third one is going to be blowing air into the cylinder head. You'll recall that we've drilled a few holes in it, and so there's plenty of airflow. I mean, that is a lot of holes. Yeah, I'd say we're ready. The oil temperature sensor is the same one we had before. As for the stock one, that's going to measure air temperature inside the head. We don't expect it to be accurate, but it will show us the temperature. Albeit not the coolant temp, but rather how hot the air is. But the more important one of the two is going to be the oil temperature sensor anyway, so yeah. Seems like everything is ready, we're looking good. So let's start the engine and head out. Okay, starting the engine. It's running, that's a good thing. I say we immediately take this outside. And we don't need to go driving straight away. We can just stay parked right here. Look on and see which of the gauges will be the first to register an increase in temperature. I'm pretty sure that honor will go to the gauge that's hooked up to the factory sensor. All because the cylinder head, as soon as I finished saying that, the temperature went up to 50 degrees Celsius. As for the oil temperature, yeah, the oil is cool for the time being. We're free to just sit around, no need to rush. Okay, so a couple of minutes have gone by, and the factory temperature gauge is already showing us 90 degrees. And it's even starting to go a bit over. The oil is still nice and cool. It has yet to get hot. Right, let's go for a drive. Alright, so check it out. The oil temp has gotten above 55 degrees. We're over 90 on this gauge. Time to hit the road. Here we go. Excellent. The suspension on this car is top-notch. Very nice. What's with the temperature when the engine is under a bit of stress? Obviously, the stock sensor over here is going to be showing us about 100. That tells us that the cylinder head is properly warmed up. But we're not going to be paying too much attention to it, because we're more concerned with the oil temperature. 10 minutes later. Okay, well, the stock temperature gauge is already in the red, albeit it has barely even dipped into it. We're all right for now. There is still a bit more red for us to spare. Meanwhile, the oil temperature is at 80. Another 5 minutes later. That's 100. And I hear a ticking noise. The engine is hot. Right, okay. That's a solid 130 right there. Let's keep going. Another 5 minutes later. I smell burnt oil. That is not a good sign. Okay, driving uphill. Yeah, the incline has taken a toll. The oil has gotten even hotter. Okay, well, nothing to worry about. What do we got? That's 130, and it looks like the gauge. I thought it'd go higher, but it's just sitting there at 130. And not climbing any further. We can flip around over here and drive uphill once again. It is a modest incline, but it will put a bit of stress onto the engine. Oh, it's not pulling anymore. It doesn't want to pull at all. What the hell? I mean, the oil temp is only at 120. Okay, well. Nah, it just ain't having it. Okay, great, it started. Come on now. It's scooting along. Wonderful. And I've got a red flashing light. Oil temp is in excess of 120. At this point, the gauge is literally screaming at me to turn the engine off, but we're not gonna. No way, man. It's not going any higher, though. It's gotten up to a bit over 130. Yeah, and it stopped there. Because race car. There it goes. So apparently it gets up to a certain threshold, it's able to sustain that for a little while, but then it gives up. It's above 130 and still climbing. Now it's gotten all the way up to 140. Well, almost. And that is just way too much. Perhaps I should drive a bit faster for more airflow. Is that even gonna work? I don't know. Okay, so I switched the engine off, and immediately the temperature dropped back to 130 and 134 or thereabouts. It cools off pretty quickly, actually. But it also heats up in no time. I'm giving this some revs, the oil is circulating, and the temperature is on the climb. I think we failed. I mean, it did work to an extent, but it's not quite as effective as we'd hoped it'd be. Oil temperature is almost at 140 degrees. And that is a lot. Okay, so check this out. We've poured molten aluminum into an engine block, welded on some fins, fitted a few fans, and at the end of the day, yeah, this was able to last for a fairly long time. I mean, I was able to drive quite a significant distance. But after a while, it gradually, I mean, yeah, it does take a while for the thing to start to get hot. But after a bit of time, it does get there. The oil serves the purpose of not only lubrication, but also heat exchange in our case. And just like last time, the oil temperature went all the way up to 140 degrees, which is totally unacceptable. The oil should not be getting so hot. Yes, so even with aluminum in the block, we were really hoping it'd pull enough heat away. But evidently, with this being an older block, there must have been some impurities and whatnot. The aluminum might not have proper adhesion to the cylinders. And now that it's all said and done, we weren't able to go the full 107% in this one. But in any case, it was able to drive for at least some time. It did all right, I think. Now, we wouldn't want to leave it at this, so why don't we think it over? Let us know in the comments what else you think we can try. I'm very keen to read what you have to say. We were able to get somewhere with the aluminum, but this wasn't a 107% success. Not quite the results we were after. And that's all I got for you. Watch us, subscribe, send in your suggestions, comment, give us a big thumbs up. All right, catch you later. What are we gonna pour in next? Copper? Lead? Copper, holy cow. That requires a lot of heat to melt, you know. Yeah, we can give it a try.